Hello, this video is one of a series of videos regarding easyConnect and associated services. This particular video is to cover the Telemetry app, which is part of the easyConnect service. The Telemetry app can be used with the U controllers and the IIoT gateways as shown in the photographs. When we look at the controller, we're making use of the Weidmuller Telemetry app, and we're also making use of the Weidmuller IIoT connector apps for this application. In terms of a related hardware, as of this month, February 24, we have 4 controllers that can use this functionality. Telemetry. So the first 2 controllers are WL controllers, come pre-installed with web firmware. They're web controllers, purely configured via a web browser. But these devices can be updated to have uOS firmware installed, which is currently version 2.10, as has the M3000 and the M4000 controller. With the uOS firmware, this means the actual controller is a Codesys based controller, making use of native Codesys PLC programming software. The IIoT Gateways can also be configured as web controllers or uOS. If you have not already watched my introductory video to easyConnect, I would strongly recommend you watch that first, because that goes through the process of setting up the Telemetry and IIoT connector apps. I'm now looking at the easyConnect portal, the website, and I'm looking at my particular controller. So my controller can be seen under device management. It's a uOS controller, and at the minute it's online, so I'm physically connected to it. If I click into here, you'll see the part number and the model. So it's a WL2000 automation controller, that's the part number. The Weidmuller IIoT connector and the U-Link connector, which I previously set up in an earlier video, Introduction to easyConnect. So the purpose of today's video is to show you how to set up the Telemetry app to extract data tags from the controller hardware into the easyConnect Telemetry cloud service. To make use of the Telemetry app, we need to apply a trial license. So if you open up the easyConnect website and look down to the bottom of the left side, go to licenses, go to trial licenses and data basic visu, click on that, data viz basic, request a license, and it's a free license. It's a trial license that lasts for 90 days. After 90 days you can actually reactivate it by requesting a license again. You probably would end up having to purchase a license, because the license you buy depends on the amount of data you want to send to the easyConnect cloud service, and also the throughput, how often you're sampling the data. So I'm just going to do a simple project, so I'm just going to request a license, and then there's the license request, send that over, request has been sent, and someone should be in touch with a license that I can then activate. So into the controller, so I'm actually physically connected to the controller itself. If I start off at the home page, there's the home page, start off there, click into the uOS control center, and then go to apps, and you'll see I have 5 apps installed. At the moment the only ones that have real interest are the Telemetry app. The Codesys control app will be covered in detail in another video. At the moment I'm just going to concentrate on the telemetry app. So I click into there to open it, click again. Okay, so by default it loads a project called default, but there's no tags, no drivers installed. So I need to define what driver I'm going to use to communicate to the controller. So this is done here, driver configuration, and I need to pick the method I want to use to communicate. The two main methods you'd use to communicate to a Weidmuller controller or IIoT Gateway are Codesys or OPC UA protocol. I would suggest Codesys is the simpler to set up, so I'm going to set that up now. So it says it's active. That's the default. It just means it's running, but it's waiting for a connection to be created. So I add a connection, give it a name. I'll call it uOS Codesys, keep it simple, protocol. Connection type is ARTI3, and then we put in the IP address of the controller that's connected to the public internet. So in my case, that's the address I'm using. The port number we just normally leave alone, so you might need to make sure that your local router or your security in your office is not blocking that port, TCP port. And then in Codesys you would have created a username and a password to download, edit a project, so you would enter that here. So I enter those credentials, save, and give that a minute, and that hopefully will switch to connected. So let's, yeah, there we go, connected. So I'm using Codesys version 3.5 Service Pack 19. So I've already got a project created and working that's downloaded into the controller. I just want to show you where the symbols, the tags are coming from. So this is the Codesys project. It's not doing a great deal, but you'll see here I have a symbol configure, a area here, global variables. There they are. So they're global variables, and they're in a folder called GVL OPC UA. Folder name, don't get too concerned with that. So I've had access to that data, and if I look here, PLC prog, I have a POU section of code, and in there I have these tags. And then I go into symbol configuration and I define what tags I want accessible via the Codesys app to talk to the telemetry. Okay, so if I click in here, I've ticked all of the tags in that folder called GVL OPC UA, and I've also selected a structure pump from that POU. So that's where my tags are coming from. Hopefully that's a bit clearer. So I'm in the telemetry app, yeah, and now I put in the password, and it tells me here the default password is Procon, so I'll just type that in, PROCON, all lowercase, log in, and now I go to driver configuration just to check it's all there. So it says I'm connected, just to edit it, show you it again. So that's the name of my connection, that's the connection type, IP address accessible to the public internet, username and password to actually download from Codesys to the controller, and the rest I've left as default. Okay, so I can cancel out of that. If I now go to the area called tags, I need to import tags from the controller. So click on import, select driver, which is native Codesys, and then pick the connection which I've just created. Okay, and it's automatically picked up application, and in there are some tags I've created. So I've got some global variable So there I have some tags, and I also have PLC program, and there's some tags in there. I have a structure, so I can copy that structure, for example, and then go to here and say I want that latitude and longitude tag as well, and import them. Do a refresh. And there's all my tags. So you can see some values are reading. I've got a value there of 45 and a value there of -109. So I'm reading something. Let me just try a refresh again. Okay, so those values are updating. So that's good news. So basically I've now got tags accessible to the Telemetry app. Now I can start thinking about actually using them in a visualization, a dashboard. This, remember, is the PLC side. So in the PLC, I've set up the Telemetry app. I've defined the tags I want to read and write. And then in the actual easyConnect services where I connect the dashboards. Something very important here is publish type. Edit. Publish type is how do I want it to be published. So in other words, when will this update the dashboard in easyConnect? Do I want it to publish on a change of state or at an interval? So I can define in an interval and say publish it, let's say, I don't know, every 5 seconds. Let me just refresh that. Yeah, so that's interval. You cannot update the publish type as a group. You have to do each variable separately. So I'm just going to change the latitude and longitude because they're actually dynamically changing. So I'm going to click in here, edit, and make that published every interval of 5 seconds as well. Okay, so just to recap, you cannot tick all the boxes and then say define the publish type for all variables in one go. You have to click into each one in turn and decide if you want it to be interval based or on a change of state. Okay, so at the moment I've brought in, I don't know, about 8 variables, but I'm only publishing 3: the ISS latitude and the ISS longitude and pump pressure from a structure. Okay, so that's all I now need to define within the controller. So I've now switched back to the easyConnect tab, and now we can start adding the telemetry, the tags into here. So we need to go into an area called Asset Management, Asset Inventory, and create a new asset. So I'll give it the name Custom. That's the only option, to be fair. Custom type. Give it a name, and I'll call it My New Asset uOS. And that's all I need to do. I can add a description if I want, but I'm just going to leave it like that. So it's My New Asset uOS. Create the asset, and then you have to go to Structures and New Structure, and again we'll just call that New Asset Structure uOS. Create structure, and again I can put a description. Okay, so now in here I tick on that, add my structure, add my new asset, click on US controller, the device, add structure, and you get that view. Now this is very important. What you now need to do is manually drag one on top of the other. There you go, and that creates like a hierarchy, a structure, and then go back to details just to make sure I've given it a name. Yeah, I've given it a name, and create structure, and there it is. Okay, you can go into here and edit it and confirm it is there. It is a bit misleading. It's there, but they're not ticked any longer. But the key point is that they were retained, and there they are. Okay, so we save changes. Right, now we can go to data visualization, and we should be able to see those tags. So click into here, metric overview, add metric, and there's my new asset structure. And if I expand this, you get your hierarchical view of the asset and the device, and then you see the tags. And I can click in here, pick which tags I want, save, and there they appear. And good news is I'm getting tags, and from memory they're updating every 5 seconds, so I think they should update live in here without me needing a refresh. And the data is all good quality, and they're double integer type variables. So the next stage would be to create a dashboard, but I'm not going to create a dashboard in this video, because the dashboard, there's quite a lot of functionality and configuration of the dashboard. So I will be creating a new video, live monitoring and charts. Let's just do a refresh to see if they have updated. Sorry, one thing I forgot to do, click on there, save them, but then, very important, is I go to here, save view. I'll just call it metric overview uOS. Okay, then I can load it or refresh it. So let's try a refresh and see if those values have changed. Yeah, so we're seeing live data, and that's reflected because it says good. So as I say, that's it for this video. The next video I will produce will be on creating the dashboard for the live monitoring and the charts. Okay, thanks for watching. I hope that's been useful for you.